After the meeting was over, Saul and Mary stayed behind in the boardroom. "I didn't like that at all, Mary darling," said Saul. "Sell us off while the going's good. Not what I wanted to hear." "No, our destiny in Peter's hands. I just don't trust his judgment. Why did we let him do this schism thing? Seemed a good idea at the time to take him down a peg. Can you sort out a reserve plan or something, Saul?" "Well, as it happens, I'm doing just that." "I knew I could rely on you, Saul." "We found this chap Martin Luther," said Saul slowly. "He seems like just the right kind of material for us." "You going to let him see the light?" No, don't be naive, darling. You need to be a lot more subtle these days. No, he's working on these theses. He's got about 7 of them so far. Every now and again, one of my guys comes to him in a dream and gives him an idea for another. We can keep him in play until he's needed that way. Of course, we've had to give him the UHT treatment." Mary looked baffled. "UHT? We've made him long life. It could easily be a century or more before we're ready to go with him, and he won't be much use by then without some help on the side. It depends how long it takes him to sort out whatever the mess Peter leaves us. We just need him to come to him in another dream at the right moment, and tell him to nail his colours to the door." "Don't you mean the mast?" No. Yes, of course we're working on ocean-going sailing, like I told you when you brought that dishy boy Croesus around. But this time he's going to nail them to the door. Just you wait and see," promised Saul. "You leave my Croesus alone, Saul," warned Mary. "Yes, darling. Now then, tell me about your date with Gautama. Not consorting with the enemy, are we?" "I've a good mind to match your eyes up, Saul," said Mary. "How do you know about that?" "Cocktail waiter in that restaurant is a friend of mine," replied Saul. "Anyway," he persisted, "it's got nothing to do with that threat from Mercury, has it? You're not working on selling us to Gautama, are you?" He looked at her keenly. "Nothing was further from my mind," said Mary. "It was a date, not a business meeting." Mind you, she thought, it was pretty hard to tell the difference. "You know that restaurant is just around the corner from my flat, don't you, Saul, dear?" "I just wondered," said Saul. "I've heard Gautama's a pretty tough date. Coffee in the flat and a night of wild passion at your place, was it?" he asked sarcastically. "Well, no," admitted Mary. "Thought so. You be careful, Mary. Gautama thinks about business and only business. What did he talk about?" "Recycling and the environment, mostly. He wants us to go in for recycling." "Reincarnation? Don't be ridiculous. It'll never catch on here, not if I work on it for 1,000 years. We looked at it when we first set up the doctrines, and there was just no way. It's just not compatible with resurrection. We can hardly get the punters to swallow that stuff about dying to atone for their sins if they think he's going to come back as a rabbit or traffic warden or something. Sure he didn't mention our finances at all? Look, Saul, it was a date, okay?" "Okay, darling, just wanted to be sure. I believe you, don't worry. Are you going to check out whether Sonny and Shear got 4 horsemen to do the Black Death, by the way? Ask your nice new chappie?" "Yes, I'll see if I can find out. Look, please don't mention my date to Saint, will you? You know what he's like," pleaded Mary. "Don't worry. I certainly don't want to put that idea in Peter's head. Before you know it, he'll be giving away our business plan to Gautama in exchange for some vague promise of a seat on his board. You know he's always thought he could do better than this. Be a big man at a larger outfit, don't you?" "The rate he's growing at the moment, he's going to be a very big man indeed, and he'll certainly need several larger outfits," replied Mary. "It's stress. Always makes him put weight on. It's the embarrassment of being wrong with the operational forecasts, being understaffed for the Black Death. You know how he feels a fool when he's caught out like that," said Saul. "Let's hope it doesn't make him try anything stupid with this schism," said Mary. Anatomy crossed. Just before you go, darling, remind me how the shareholdings are divided, if it ever comes to a vote on Mercury's plan to close us," said Saul carefully. "Well, you, me, and Saint have 10% each, as you know. And Mr. and Mrs. Carpenter got half their son's share each when he reached that special level of refinement, you mean," said Saul. "Exactly. So they've got 5% each, but Joseph will never disagree with Virginia, so really it's 10% with her. The refiners have 15%, but they all seem to vote with Beelzebub. And Pantheon Alliance have the remaining 45%. So all it takes is either Beelzebub or Mrs. Carpenter to vote with Pantheon, and they have a majority." Or Peter? Asked Saul carefully. You don't think? Asked Mary wide-eyed. Depends, darling. Depends how much of a balls he makes of this schism, and whether or not Gautama gets at him. Look, best of luck with the Luther scheme, Saul. I think we're going to need it. I'm off now to grill Croesus about the Black Death. See you soon. Mary left the boardroom. Saul followed her more slowly, deep in thought.